The rain fell hard on Seoul that night. It came down in thick sheets, hitting the concrete like thousands of tiny drums. Under the old overpass near the industrial district, Park Do-hyun sat in his wheelchair and watched the water run past his wheels in dirty rivers. He pulled his thin blanket tighter around his shoulders. It did little to stop the cold. The blanket was old and full of holes, but it was all he had. That and the wheelchair. The wheelchair was military issue, given to him 15 years ago when they sent him home from the war. Back then, they called him a hero. They pinned medals on his chest and shook his hand. They promised to take care of him. They lied. Do-hyun was 53 years old now. His hair had gone gray. His face was rough with stubble because he could not afford razors. His hands were calloused and scarred. But his eyes were still sharp. They were the eyes of a soldier, always watching, always alert. Above him, the city hummed with life. Flying cars zipped through the air between the tall buildings. Holographic advertisements flashed bright colors against the dark sky. People walked past the overpass with umbrellas over their heads, talking on their communication devices, laughing with friends. None of them looked down at the homeless man in the shadows. He was invisible to them. Do-hyun did not blame them. He had learned long ago that the world did not care about broken soldiers. When he came back from the Titan campaign with dead legs and screaming nightmares, his wife Eunbi tried to stay. She really tried. But watching him struggle, watching him fail to find work, watching him drink to forget the things he had seen, it broke something in her. She left after 2 years. He did not blame her either. His daughter was different. His little Somi never got the chance to see him like this. She died in the colony bombings when she was 11 years old. Valorian warships had fired on the civilian sectors. They said it was a mistake. They said they were sorry. Sorry did not bring his daughter back. That was the thing about war. Everyone was sorry afterward, but sorry changed nothing. Do-hyun reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of bread. He had found it that morning behind a bakery. It was stale and hard, but it was food. He ate slowly, making it last. He had learned to make everything last. The rain kept falling. Around him, the city celebrated. It was the 5th anniversary of the peace accord between Earth and the Valorian Empire, 5 years since the war ended. 5 years of aliens walking on Earth soil, living in Earth cities, breathing Earth air. Do-hyun saw them sometimes, tall beings with silver skin and large purple eyes. They moved gracefully, like dancers. Humans stared at them with mixed feelings, some with wonder, some with hate. Do-hyun felt nothing when he saw them. The war had taken too much from him. He had no energy left for hate. He had no energy left for anything except survival. He finished his bread and licked the crumbs from his fingers. His stomach still felt empty, but it would have to wait until tomorrow. Maybe he would find something better. Maybe not. The crowds on the street were thinning now. It was getting late. The rain was keeping people indoors. Do-hyun leaned back in his wheelchair and closed his eyes. Sleep was the only escape he had. In his dreams sometimes, he could still walk. Sometimes he could still hold his daughter. But then he heard it. A sound. Small and weak, almost lost in the noise of the rain. A whimper. A cry. Do-hyun opened his eyes. He turned his head toward the alley behind him. The sound came again. It was the sound of someone in pain. His soldier instincts woke up. For 15 years, those instincts had been sleeping, but now they stirred. Someone needed help. He grabbed the wheels of his chair and pushed. The chair rolled through the puddles, splashing dirty water onto his pants. He did not care. He followed the sound into the darkness of the alley. It took a moment for his eyes to adjust. The alley was narrow and filled with garbage. Old boxes. Broken bottles. a dumpster overflowing with trash, and there, against the far wall, huddled in a small ball, was a figure. Do-hyun pushed closer. The figure looked up. It was a girl, but not a human girl. Her skin glowed with a faint silver light, even in the darkness. Her eyes were large and purple, filled with tears. She was young, maybe 12 or 13 in human years. She wore a simple gray dress that was torn and dirty, and her legs... Do-hyun felt his chest tighten. Her legs were bent at wrong angles. They were broken. Or maybe they had always been that way. Either way, she could not walk. She had been dragging herself through the alley, and now she had no strength left. The girl saw him and made a frightened sound. She tried to push herself away, but her arms were too weak. She was terrified. "Easy," Do-hyun said. He kept his voice soft. "I am not going to hurt you." She stared at him with those big purple eyes. Her whole body was shaking, from cold, from fear, from pain. Do-hyun raised his hands slowly, showing her they were empty. "What is your name?" he asked. The girl swallowed. When she spoke, her voice was small and broken. "Yuna," she said. The word came out in careful Korean. "My name is Yuna." A Valorian with a Korean name. She must have chosen it when she came to Earth. Many aliens did that. They picked human names to help them fit in. It did not always work. "Yuna," Do-hyun repeated. "I am Do-hyun. What happened to you?" Yuna's eyes filled with fresh tears. She looked down at her twisted legs. "There was a protest," she whispered. "Humans who do not want us here. I was with my guards, but we got separated. Someone pushed me. I fell downstairs. Many stairs." Do-hyun felt anger rise in his chest, not at Yuna, at the people who had done this to a child. "Where are your guards now?" he asked. "I do not know. My communicator broke." She held up a small device. It was cracked and dark. "I cannot call them. I cannot walk. I have been here for hours. I did not know what to do." She started to cry. Not loud crying, but quiet, hopeless tears. The crying of someone who had given up. Do-hyun looked at this girl, this alien girl, this child of the enemy who had killed his daughter, and he made a decision. He did not think about it. He did not weigh the options. He just decided. "All right," he said. "All right, Yuna. We are going to get you help. But first, we need to get you out of this alley." He looked at her broken legs. He looked at his wheelchair. And he knew what he had to do. Yuna watched him with confusion. "What are you doing?" she asked. Do-hyun did not answer. He just reached down and locked the wheels of his chair. Then, using all the strength in his arms, he lifted himself out of the seat. His legs were dead weight below him. They had been useless for 15 years. But his arms were strong. He had made them strong because they were all he had. He lowered himself to the wet ground. The cold water soaked through his clothes immediately. He ignored it. Then he looked at Yuna and held out his hands. "Come," he said. "The chair is yours now." The night grew colder. The rain had stopped, but the wind picked up, cutting through Do-hyun's wet clothes like knives. He could not feel his legs, of course, he never could, but he could feel the cold creeping into his chest. His bones, his heart. He kept pushing. The streets of Seoul were strange at this hour, empty and quiet, but not peaceful. Shadows moved in doorways, eyes watched from windows. The city that seemed so alive during the day became something else at night, something darker, something that reminded Do-hyun why he slept with one eye open. Yuna had fallen into a light sleep in the wheelchair. Her head hung forward, her silver hair covering her face. Her breathing was shallow and fast. Not good. She needed food and medicine that Do-hyun could not give her. He pushed faster. His arms screamed at him. His makeshift crutches dug into his armpits. The bleeding on his hands had gotten worse. He could feel the warm wetness spreading across his palms. He ignored it all. They passed through the old market district. The stalls were closed and dark, but the smells remained. Fried food, spices, garbage. Do-Yun's stomach twisted with hunger. He had not eaten since that small piece of bread hours ago. A light appeared ahead. A small food cart, still open, run by an old woman in a plastic raincoat. She was packing up for the night, putting lids on her pots and wiping down her counter. Do-Yun stopped. He did not have money. He had nothing. But Yuna needed to eat something. Anything. Maybe it would not help her body, but it might give her strength to hold on. He pushed the wheelchair toward the cart. The old woman looked up. Her face was round and wrinkled, with kind eyes that had seen too much. She looked at Do-Hyun, wet, bleeding, exhausted, and then at the alien girl sleeping in the wheelchair. "What happened?" the old woman asked. "She is hurt," Do-Hyun said. His voice was hoarse. "We are trying to get to the Valorian embassy. She needs food, but I have no money. I am sorry to bother you." He turned to leave. He did not expect help. People did not help people like him. "Wait." Do-Hyun stopped. The old woman came around the cart. She moved slowly, with the careful steps of someone whose body was tired. She looked at Yuna more closely, then looked at Do-Hyun. "You are taking care of her," the woman said. It was not a question. "Yes, she is Valorian. Yes. And you are—" "Just a man." Do-Hyun met her eyes. "Just a man trying to help a child." The old woman studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded as if she had decided something. "Sit," she said, "both of you. I am Grandma Bach, and I still have food." She brought out containers from her cart. Rice cakes, soup, dumplings. She heated them on her small stove and served them on paper plates. The smell made Do-Hyun's mouth water. Yuna woke up when she smelled the food. Her eyes were glassy and confused at first, but then she saw the plates, and her whole body seemed to lean toward them. "It is earth food," Do-Hyun warned her. "It may not give you what you need." "It does not matter," Yuna whispered. "I am so hungry." Grandma Bach handed her a plate. Yuna took it with trembling hands and began to eat. She ate slowly, carefully, like someone who had forgotten what food tasted like. Tears ran down her face as she chewed. Do-Hyun watched her. Something in his chest hurt, not a physical pain, something deeper. Grandma Bach pushed a plate toward him. "You too, eat." "I cannot pay you." "Did I ask for payment?" The old woman gave him a stern look. "Eat." "You look like you are about to fall over." Do-Hyun ate. The food was simple but good, warm and filling. He felt strength returning to his body just a little, enough to keep going. While they ate, Grandma Bach sat on a small stool and watched them. She did not ask many questions. She did not judge. She just watched with those kind, tired eyes. "My son was in the war," she said after a while. "He flew fighters against the Valorians. He did not come home." Do-Hyun stopped chewing. He looked at the old woman. "I am sorry," Yuna said softly. Her voice was thick with guilt. "I am so sorry." Grandma Bach shook her head. "You did not kill him, child. The war killed him. The war killed many sons and daughters on both sides." She looked at Do-Hyun. "And it broke many who survived." Do-Hyun said nothing. There was nothing to say. "But you," Grandma Bach continued, looking at him, "you are helping her. After everything, you are helping her. That means something. It does not bring anyone back. No. But it builds something new." The old woman stood up and began packing the rest of her food. "The past is done. We cannot change it. We can only decide what comes next." She handed Do-Hyun a bag. Inside were more rice cakes, a bottle of water, and a small blanket. "For the road," she said. "The embassy is still far. You will need your strength." Do-Hyun took the bag. His hands were shaking, not from cold or pain, from something else. "Thank you," he said. The words felt small, weak, not enough. Grandma Bach smiled. It was a sad smile, but warm. Thank me by getting her there safely, and maybe one day come back and tell me how it ended. Do-yun nodded. He promised he would. They left the food cart and continued through the streets. Yuna was more alert now, the food giving her a little energy. She wrapped the new blanket around her shoulders and held onto the armrests of the wheelchair. She was kind, Yuna said. Yes, even after losing her son to my people. Do-yun pushed forward. His arms still burned, but the pain felt more distant now. Kindness is not about what you have lost. It is about what you choose to give. Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Is that why you are helping me? Because you choose to? Yes. Even though you lost your daughter? Do-hyun's hands tightened on the wheelchair handles. The old familiar grief rose in his chest, that heavy, dark thing that never went away, only slept sometimes. My daughter would have wanted me to help, he said finally. She was kind, much kinder than me. If she saw a hurt child, any child, she would not walk away. She would not even think about it. He paused. So I do not think about it either. I just do what she would have done. Yuna turned around in the chair to look at him. Her purple eyes were bright with tears. What was her name? She asked. Somi? Kim Somi? Somi, Yuna repeated. She said it carefully, like it was something precious. I will remember that name. They kept moving. The city began to change around them. The old buildings gave way to newer ones. The streets got wider. They were entering a better part of town, closer to the embassy district. But they were still far away, hours at least. Do-hyun's body was failing. He could feel it. His arms were losing strength. His crutches were splintering. The bleeding on his hands had soaked through the padding and was dripping onto the ground. But he did not stop. Yuna saw the blood. She saw the way his arms shook. She saw everything. Please, she said. Please rest, just for a moment. We cannot stop. You are killing yourself. Then I die getting you to safety. Do-hyun's voice was flat, certain. That is a good death, better than dying under an overpass. Yuna started to cry again, not from pain this time, from something else. Why? She asked again. Why are you doing this? Do-hyun thought about the question. He thought about his daughter, his wife, his legs, his home, everything he had lost, everything the universe had taken from him. Then he thought about this girl, this scared, hurt, lonely girl who needed someone. Because you matter, he said. That is enough. He pushed forward into the darkness, and Yuna, through her tears, watched him with something like wonder. The night stretched on forever. That was how it felt to Do-hyun. Every street looked the same. Every corner led to another corner. The city was a maze, and he was lost in it, pushing a wheelchair through the darkness with nothing but willpower keeping him upright. His crutches finally broke around midnight. It happened without warning. The rusted metal snapped under his weight, and Do-hyun went down hard. He hit the pavement with his shoulder and rolled, pain exploding through his body. For a moment he just lay there, staring up at the sky, breathing hard. Yuna screamed his name. She tried to get out of the wheelchair to help him, but her legs would not hold her. She fell too, landing on the wet ground beside him. Do-hyun, are you okay? Please, say something. Do-hyun groaned. He pushed himself up on his elbows and looked at the broken crutches. Useless now, just twisted metal. I am fine, he lied. You are not fine. You fell. You are bleeding everywhere. He looked at his hands. She was right. The cuts had gotten worse. His palms were raw and red. Blood mixed with rainwater and dripped down his fingers. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was that he had no way to move now. Without the crutches, he could only crawl, and crawling was slow. Too slow. Yuna grabbed his arm. We have to stop. Please, find somewhere to wait until morning. Maybe someone will help us then. Morning is too far away. You said yourself that you need Valorian food. Earth food does not give you what you need. If we wait until morning? He did not finish the sentence. He did not have to. Yuna's face went pale. She knew what he meant. She was getting weaker. The food from Grandma Bach had helped a little, but it was not enough. Her body was shutting down slowly. She might not survive until morning. Then leave me, she said suddenly. Do-yun stared at her. What? Leave me here. You can move faster alone. Find help and bring them back. No. I am slowing you down. I am killing you. Please, just go. No. Do-yun grabbed her shoulders and made her look at him. His eyes were fierce. I did not carry you out of that alley to leave you alone in the street. I did not give you my chair so you could die on the sidewalk. We go together, or we do not go at all. Yuna's lip trembled. You are so stubborn. Yes. It is my best quality. Despite everything, she almost laughed. It came out as a shaky breath, but it was something. Do-yun looked around. They were on a quiet street lined with small shops, all closed, no one around. But further down, he saw lights, a busier road, maybe cars. Help me back into the chair position, he said. I will push from the ground. We will go slower, but we will go. Yuna shook her head. That is impossible. I have done impossible things before. Help me. Together, they struggled back into position. Do-yun sat on the ground behind the wheelchair, his useless legs spread out in front of him. He grabbed the wheelchair handles from below and used his arms to push himself forward, sliding along the wet pavement, pulling the chair with him. It was brutal. Every push scraped his back against the concrete. His clothes tore, his skin tore, but the chair moved, slowly, painfully, but it moved. Yuna watched him with tears running down her face. You are destroying yourself. Then I am destroyed. Keep your eyes forward. Tell me if you see anyone. They moved like that for what felt like hours, inch by inch, push by push. Do-yun's world narrowed to nothing but the next movement, the next breath, the next second. His mind started to wander. He thought about the war, the things he had seen, the friends he had lost. He thought about Somi, her laugh, her smile, the way she used to run to him when he came home. He thought about Yunbi, how they had danced at their wedding, how happy they had been before everything fell apart. He thought about all the years under the overpass, the cold nights, the hunger, the loneliness, the way people looked through him like he was not there. And he thought about this girl in the wheelchair, this alien princess, though he did not know that yet. This child who had come to Earth to understand humans and had found only pain. Maybe this was why he was still alive. Maybe all those years of suffering had been leading to this moment, this one chance to do something good. Or maybe it meant nothing. Maybe life was just random and cruel, and there was no reason for any of it. Either way, he was going to get her to the embassy, even if it killed him. The street ended at a larger road. Do-yun stopped, gasping for breath. His arms felt like they were filled with fire. His back was raw and bleeding. His vision was starting to blur. But there were cars here. Not many, but some. Flying cars humming past. Ground cars rolling by. Help! Yuna called out. Her voice was weak, but she tried. Please, someone help us! The cars kept passing. No one stopped. No one even slowed down. Do-yun felt anger rising in him. All these people, in their nice cars, going to their nice homes, and they could not be bothered to stop for a dying girl and a broken man. Then, one car slowed. It was a taxi. Old model. Ground-based. The kind that only poor people used anymore. It pulled to the side of the road and stopped in front of them. The driver got out. He was an older man, maybe 60, with a weathered face and gray hair. He wore a simple jacket and had the look of someone who worked hard for everything he had. He stared at Do-hyun and Yuna for a long moment. Then he walked toward them. "What happened here?" the driver asked. Do-hyun tried to speak, but his voice was gone. His throat was dry. He could only point at Yuna. The driver looked at the girl in the wheelchair. An alien, silver skin, purple eyes, broken legs, crying. Then he looked at Do-hyun, a human, bleeding, broken, lying on the ground like a dog. "You are taking her somewhere," the driver said. Again, not a question. Do-hyun nodded. "Valorian Embassy?" Another nod. The driver rubbed his face with his hand. He let out a long breath. Then he opened the back door of his taxi. "Get in," he said. "Both of you." Do-hyun felt something break inside him. Not a bad break. Something like relief. Something like hope. "I have no money," he managed to say. "Did I ask for money?" The driver bent down and put his arms under Do-hyun. "My name is Mr. Kang. My son was in the Defense Corps, served in the outer colonies. He died at Titan Station." Do-hyun froze. Titan Station. The same battle where he had lost his legs. "I am sorry," Do-hyun whispered. Mr. Kang lifted him up like he weighed nothing. "He would have done the same thing you are doing. Helped someone who needed it no matter what." He placed Do-hyun in the back seat, then went to get Yuna. "So I will help you. For him." He lifted Yuna gently from the wheelchair and placed her next to Do-hyun. Then he folded the wheelchair and put it in the trunk. The taxi started moving. The ride was smooth, warm, safe. Do-hyun leaned his head back against the seat and closed his eyes. His whole body was shaking. From pain. From exhaustion. From something else he could not name. Yuna reached over and took his bloody hand in hers. "Thank you," she whispered. Do-hyun did not open his eyes. He just squeezed her hand. Mr. Kang looked at them in the mirror. "Hold on," he said. "We will be there soon." The taxi drove through the night, carrying a broken soldier, a dying girl, and a grieving father toward a place where maybe, just maybe, something good could happen. And the city lights blurred past like stars. The taxi moved through the city like a dream. Do-hyun drifted in and out of consciousness, his body finally giving in to exhaustion now that it was safe. Every time he opened his eyes, he saw different things. Streetlights, buildings, the back of Mr. Kang's head, Yuna's silver face beside him, watching him with worry. "Stay awake," Yuna kept saying. "Please, stay awake." He tried, he really tried, but his body had nothing left. He had pushed it too far for too long. 15 years of living on the streets had made him tough, but even tough had limits. Mr. Kang drove fast but careful. He knew the city well, every shortcut, every back road, every way to avoid traffic. He had been driving this taxi for 30 years, he told them. Since before the war, since before everything changed. "The embassy district is locked down at night," Mr. Kang said. "Security is tight. They might not let us through." "They have to," Yuna said. Her voice was desperate. "I need to get there. I need—" She stopped. She was hiding something. Do-hyun could tell. There was something about her that she was not saying, but he was too tired to ask, too tired to care. They reached the embassy district just as the sky began to lighten. Dawn was coming. The darkness was fading into gray. The district was different from the rest of the city. Cleaner, quieter. Tall buildings with flags from different worlds, gates and fences and guards everywhere. This was where the aliens lived when they came to Earth, safe and separate from the humans who hated them. Mr. Kang stopped the taxi at a checkpoint. 2 human guards in military uniforms approached the car. They carried weapons and wore hard expressions. "District is closed," one guard said. "Turn around." "I have a Valorian girl who needs medical attention," Mr. Kang said. She has to get to the embassy." The guards looked into the back seat. They saw Yuna, silver skin, purple eyes, broken legs. Then they saw Do-hyun, bloody, torn, barely conscious. "What happened to him?" the other guard asked. "He carried her here, from across the city." The guards exchanged a look. One of them spoke into his communicator. There was a long pause. Then a voice crackled back. "Let them through." The gates opened. Mr. Kang drove forward. The Valorian embassy was at the end of a long road lined with trees. It was a massive building, shaped like a spiral shell, made of something that looked like crystal or glass. It glowed with soft light, even in the early morning, beautiful and strange and completely alien. Mr. Kang stopped the taxi at the main entrance. Valorian guards stood at the doors, tall figures in silver armor, with the same purple eyes as Yuna. They watched the taxi with suspicion. "This is as far as I go," Mr. Kang said. He turned around and looked at Do-hyun. "Can you make it from here?" Do-hyun tried to move. His body refused. He could not even lift his arms. Yuna grabbed his hand. "Help us," she said to Mr. Kang. "Please, one more time." Mr. Kang looked at the Valorian guards. He looked at the embassy. He took a deep breath. "All right," he said. "One more time." He got out of the taxi and opened the back door. He lifted Do-hyun out first, carrying him like a child. Do-hyun wanted to protest. He hated being helpless, but he had no strength to speak. The Valorian guards moved forward, their hands on their weapons. "Stop there," one guard commanded. "Identify yourselves." "This girl needs help," Mr. Kang said. "She is hurt. She is sick. She needs Valorian medicine." The guards looked at Yuna, still in the back seat. Their expressions changed. Something flickered across their faces. Recognition, shock. One guard spoke rapidly into his communicator. The words were in the Valorian language, fast and musical and completely foreign, but the tone was clear, urgent, alarmed. Suddenly, the embassy doors burst open. More guards came running out. Medical personnel in white uniforms, officials in formal robes. They rushed to the taxi. They pulled Yuna out with extreme care, lifting her like she was made of glass. They put her on a floating stretcher and began checking her immediately. Do-hyun watched through blurred vision. What was happening? Why were they treating her like this? She was just a girl, just a child who got lost and hurt. One of the officials approached Mr. Kang. "Where did you find her?" he demanded. "I did not find her." "He did." Mr. Kang nodded toward Do-hyun. The official turned to Do-hyun. His purple eyes were intense, piercing. "You, human. You brought her here?" Do-hyun could barely keep his head up. "Yes," he whispered. "How? How did you bring her across the city in your condition?" "I pushed." Do-hyun's voice was fading. "I pushed and I crawled and I did not stop." The official stared at him. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he turned to the guards. "Take him inside. Give him medical care. The best we have." Hands grabbed Do-hyun, gentle hands. They lifted him onto another stretcher. The world spun around him. "Wait," he said. "The girl, Yuna, is she okay?" "She will be fine," someone said. "Because of you." They carried him into the embassy. The last thing he saw before he passed out was Yuna on her stretcher, reaching toward him with one hand. And then darkness took him. When Do-hyun woke up, he did not know where he was. He was lying in a bed. A real bed, with clean sheets and soft pillows. The room was large and white, filled with strange equipment that hummed and glowed. Medical equipment, he realized. Valorian technology. He tried to sit up. His body moved easily, too easily. He looked down at himself. The cuts on his hands were gone. The scrapes on his back were gone. He felt strong, rested, better than he had felt in 15 years. And then he felt something else, his legs. He felt his legs. He threw off the blankets and stared at them. They looked the same as always, thin and pale from years of disuse. But he could feel them. He could feel the sheets touching his skin. He could feel the air on his toes. He tried to move his foot. It moved. Do-hyun stopped breathing. His heart slammed against his chest. This was impossible. His spine had been destroyed. The doctors had told him he would never walk again. They had been very clear about that. He tried again. His foot moved again. A door opened. A Valorian woman entered, tall, elegant, wearing a white medical uniform. She smiled when she saw him awake. "Good morning," she said. "How do you feel?" "My legs," Do-hyun choked out. "I can feel my legs." "Yes. We repaired your spinal nerves. It was extensive damage, but our medical technology was able to regenerate the connections." She walked to his bedside and checked one of the machines. "You will need physical therapy to rebuild the muscles. It will take time. But yes, you will be able to walk again." Do-hyun could not speak, could not think. 15 years. 15 years in that wheelchair. And now... "Why?" he finally asked. "Why did you do this?" The Valorian woman looked at him with soft purple eyes. "Because of what you did. You saved someone very important to us. This is the least we could do in return." "Important? You mean Yuna?" "Yes, Yuna." The woman paused. "There are some things you do not know about her. Things that will be explained to you soon. But for now, please rest. Regain your strength." She turned to leave. "Wait," Do-hyun said. "Is she okay? Yuna, is she alive?" The woman smiled again. "She is alive and recovering well. She has been asking about you constantly. She wants to see you." Relief flooded through Do-hyun. A weight lifted from his chest. "When can I see her?" he asked. "Soon. But first, there is someone else who wishes to meet you." The woman's expression became serious, respectful, almost awed. "Someone very important. Please, prepare yourself." She left the room. Do-hyun lay back against the pillows, his mind spinning. What had he gotten himself into? And who was Yuna, really? Do-hyun had spent that hour sitting on the edge of his bed, looking at his legs, moving his toes, bending his knees, feeling things he had not felt in 15 years. It was like rediscovering a part of himself that he thought was dead. He had tried to stand once. His legs gave out immediately. The muscles were too weak. But for 1 second, one beautiful second, he had been on his feet. That second was worth everything. Now he looked up at the door, expecting a doctor or a nurse. Instead, he saw guards. 6 Valorian guards in silver armor entered the room and stood at attention along the walls. They moved with perfect precision, like machines. Their faces were blank, but their eyes were watchful. Do-hyun's soldier instincts kicked in. Something was happening, something big. Then she entered. She was tall, taller than any Valorian he had seen. Her skin was silver, like all of her kind, but it seemed to glow brighter. Her eyes were deep purple, almost violet, and they carried a weight that made Do-hyun's breath catch. She wore a flowing gown of dark blue, and on her head was a thin band of silver metal set with a single white gem. She looked like a queen. She was a queen. Do-hyun knew it immediately. Not because of the crown or the guards or the gown. He knew it because of the way she carried herself, the way she moved, the way everyone in the room seemed to bend toward her like plants toward the sun. She walked to his bedside and stopped. For a long moment, she simply looked at him, studying him, reading him. Then she spoke. "You are Park Do-hyun." It was not a question. Her voice was calm and strong, with a musical quality that was hard to describe. "Yes," Do-hyun said. He tried to sit up straighter. It felt wrong to slouch in front of this woman. "I am the Empress of the Valorian Third House. My name..." in your language would be something like moonlight over still water, but you may call me Empress Suri." She paused. "The girl you saved is my daughter." The words hit Do-hyun like a physical blow. The girl, Yuna, the scared, hurt child he had found in that alley, was a princess. Your daughter," he repeated. "Yes, my only child, my heir." Empress Suri's eyes never left his face. "She came to Earth in secret, against my wishes, because she wanted to understand your people. She believed that true peace could only come from true understanding. She was traveling with guards, but they were attacked. She was separated, lost." "For 2 days," Do-hyun said, remembering what Yuna had told him. "She was alone for 2 days." "Yes. We searched for her quietly, trying not to cause panic. We did not want to admit that the heir to the third house had disappeared on Earth. The political consequences would have been severe." The Empress's jaw tightened. "We found nothing. We began to fear the worst." Do-hyun thought about those 2 days. Yuna, alone in the city, hurt and scared and starving. He felt anger rise in his chest again, at the people who had pushed her, at the world that had let her suffer. "And then you brought her to us," the Empress continued. "You, a homeless human veteran with no legs, carried my daughter across the city. You gave her your wheelchair. You sacrificed your body. You almost died." Her voice softened slightly. "Why?" Do-hyun had been asked this question many times now, by Yuna, by Grandma Bok, by Mr. Kang, by himself in the dark hours of that long night. He gave the same answer he always gave. "She was a child who needed help. That is all." The Empress studied him for another long moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. "That is what my daughter told me. She said you never hesitated. She said you treated her with kindness, even though your people and mine were enemies. She said you spoke of your daughter, the one you lost in the war." Do-hyun's throat tightened. He did not like talking about Somi. It hurt too much. "I am sorry for your loss," the Empress said. Her voice was gentle now. "I am sorry for all the losses on both sides. The war was a tragedy born from fear and misunderstanding. We are all still suffering from its wounds." "Yes," Do-hyun managed to say. "We are." The Empress was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "In Valorian culture, we have a concept called the life debt. When someone saves your life, you owe them a debt that can never truly be repaid. It is sacred. It is unbreakable." Do-hyun shifted uncomfortably. "I did not save her for a reward." "I know. That is what makes the debt greater." The Empress smiled slightly. "You ask for nothing, so we must give you everything." She gestured, and one of the guards stepped forward carrying a small box. The Empress took the box and opened it. Inside was a medal, a circle of silver with the same white gem as her crown, attached to a ribbon of deep blue. "This is the star of the third house," the Empress said. "It is our highest honor. It has been given only 12 times in our history, always to those who showed extraordinary courage and selflessness." She lifted the medal from the box. "Park Do-hyun, you are the first human to receive this honor." Do-hyun stared at the medal. It glowed softly in the light, beautiful and strange. "I do not deserve this," he said. "You do." The Empress stepped closer and placed the medal around his neck. The ribbon was cool against his skin. The weight of the star was solid and real. "You deserve this and much more." She stepped back. "Tomorrow morning," she said, "you will be formally honored in our courtyard. The royal guard will be assembled. The ceremony will be broadcast across Valoria and Earth. Your story will be known everywhere." Do-hyun felt panic rising in his chest. "No, I do not want that. I did not do this for attention. I did not." "I know." The Empress raised a hand. "But your story matters. It shows that kindness can exist even after war. It shows that humans and Valorians can help each other. It shows that peace is possible. She paused. The galaxy needs to see that. Both our peoples need to see that. Do-hyun did not know what to say. He was just a homeless man, a forgotten soldier. He was not a symbol. He was not a hero. But maybe that was the point. There is one more thing, the Empress said. She clasped her hands in front of her. After the ceremony, you will have a choice. You can return to your life here on Earth with our gratitude and support. We will give you a home, money, everything you need. Or, she paused, or you can come to Valoria. You can become an ambassador between our peoples. You can live among us, work with us, help us build true peace. Her purple eyes were steady. You have lost much, Park Do-hyun. Your legs, your daughter, your home. Perhaps, with us, you can find something new. Do-hyun sat there, the metal heavy on his chest, the future stretching out before him like a road he had never expected to walk. He thought about Earth, the streets he knew, the overpass that had been his home, the city that had forgotten him. He thought about Valoria, a world he had never seen, a people he had once fought against. He thought about Somi. What would she want him to do? Can I have time to think? He asked. The Empress nodded. Of course. The choice is yours. Whatever you decide, we will honor it. She turned and walked toward the door. The guards followed. At the doorway, she stopped and looked back. My daughter wishes to see you, she said. She has been asking every hour. I will send her in if you are willing. Do-hyun nodded. Yes, please. The Empress smiled again, a real smile this time, warm and grateful. Thank you, Park Do-hyun, for everything. Then she was gone. Do-hyun sat alone in the room, the star of the third house hanging over his heart, and waited for the princess he had saved to come through the door. She was in a hover chair now, a sleek, silver thing that floated above the ground and moved with silent grace. Her legs were wrapped in medical devices that glowed with soft light, healing her broken bones. She looked better than before, stronger. But her eyes were the same, those big purple eyes that held too much feeling for someone so young. She stopped her chair beside his bed and looked at him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Yuna said, You are okay. Do-hyun nodded. I am okay. They fixed your legs? Yes. Can you walk? Not yet. Soon. Yuna's eyes filled with tears. They spilled down her silver cheeks, and she did not wipe them away. I was so scared, she whispered. When you collapsed at the gates, you were not moving. There was so much blood. I thought you were dead. I thought I had killed you. Do-hyun reached out and took her hand. It was thin and cold, just like before, but stronger now, alive. You did not kill me, he said. You gave me a reason to keep going. Yuna squeezed his hand tight. My mother told me who you are, about your daughter, about everything you lost. She swallowed hard. I am so sorry. I am sorry my people killed her. I am sorry you had to suffer. Do-hyun felt the old pain rise in his chest, the grief that never went away. But this time, there was something else with it, something lighter. Your mother said something to me, he said slowly. She said the war was a tragedy born from fear and misunderstanding. She was right. But you know what? You came to Earth to understand us. That took courage. And when you were hurt and alone, you did not give up. You fought to survive. That took courage, too. He looked at her. This alien girl, this princess, this child who had somehow become important to him. Somi would have liked you, he said. I think you would have been friends. Yuna started crying harder. But she was smiling, too. A strange, sad, happy smile. I want to be worthy of that, she said. I want to make you proud. You already have. They sat together for a long time, holding hands, not speaking. Sometimes silence said more than words. Finally, Yuna wiped her eyes and looked at him seriously. "Will you come to the ceremony tomorrow?" she asked. Do-yun nodded. "Your mother did not give me much choice." Yuna almost laughed. "She is like that, very determined." I noticed. "But after the ceremony, will you stay? Will you come to Valoria with us?" Do-yun was quiet. He had been thinking about that question all day. The choice the Empress had given him, Earth or Valoria, the past or the future. "I do not know yet," he said honestly. "It is a big decision." "I know, but I want you to know that if you come, you will not be alone. You will have a home, a purpose." Yuna paused. "A family." Family. The word hit him harder than he expected. He had not had a family in 15 years. He had forgotten what it felt like. "Let me think about it," he said. "After the ceremony." Yuna nodded. She understood. She stayed with him for another hour. She told him about her world, more details than before, the festivals and the food and the music, the way the light looked at twilight, golden and soft, the family she loved, the friends she missed. And he told her about Earth, the good parts, the mountains and the oceans, the food, real Korean food, not the stale bread he had been eating for years, the way the cherry blossoms looked in spring, the things that made Earth beautiful, despite everything. When she finally left, she hugged him. Her arms were thin but strong. She held on tight, like she was afraid to let go. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for saving me." "Thank you for letting me," he replied. Then she was gone. Do-yun slept well that night. For the first time in 15 years, he had no nightmares. The morning came bright and clear. The rain was gone and the sun was shining. The sky was blue and endless. Do-yun stood at the window of his room and looked out at the embassy courtyard below. He was standing, actually standing, with the help of crutches that the Valorian doctors had given him. His legs shook with the effort, but they held. The courtyard was full. 500 royal guards stood in perfect formation, their silver armor gleaming in the sunlight. They were arranged in rows like soldiers on parade. Their faces were calm and serious. At the front of the formation was a platform. The Empress stood there, tall and regal in her formal robes. Beside her was Yuna in her hover chair, wearing a gown of white and silver. And there were cameras, many cameras, floating drones that would broadcast this ceremony across the galaxy. A guard came to Do-hyun's room. "It is time," the guard said. Do-hyun took a deep breath. His heart was pounding. He was not used to attention. He was not used to being seen. But this was not about him. It was about what he had done. And maybe, just maybe, it was about what could come next. He followed the guard out of the room and through the embassy. The hallways were lined with Valorians, officials, staff, soldiers, all watching him pass. They did not speak. They did not need to. Their eyes said everything. Finally, he reached the courtyard. The sunlight was bright. The air was warm. Do-yun stepped out onto the stone ground and looked at the 500 guards, the Empress, the Princess, the cameras. The whole galaxy was watching. He walked forward, slowly, carefully. His crutches clicked against the stone. His legs trembled but did not fail. He reached the platform and stopped in front of the Empress. She looked at him with those deep purple eyes. "Park Do-yun," she said, her voice amplified so everyone could hear. "You came to us as a stranger, a forgotten soldier of a war that wounded us all. You had nothing, no home, no money, no legs. And yet when you found my daughter broken and alone, you gave her everything you had." She paused. The courtyard was silent. "You gave her your wheelchair. You gave her your strength. You gave her your protection. You carried her across a city that had rejected you both. You asked for nothing in return." Her voice grew stronger. "This is not common. This is not ordinary. This is the highest form of honor." She turned to the guards. "In the name of the Valorian Empire and the Third House, I present to you Park Do-hyun of Earth, hero, savior, and friend." She raised her hand, and 500 royal guards, as one, dropped to their knees. The sound was like thunder, 500 armored knees hitting the stone together, 500 heads bowing toward one broken man. Do-hyun stood there, frozen. He could not breathe. He could not think. This was not right. He was nobody. He was just a homeless man who had done what anyone should have done. But as he looked at those 500 guards kneeling before him, he realized something. Maybe that was the point. Maybe the galaxy needed to see that anyone could be a hero. That honor was not about titles or power or wealth. It was about choices, about what you did when no one was watching, about who you helped when it cost you everything. Maybe his story mattered because he was nobody, because it proved that nobody could become somebody through simple, stubborn kindness. The Empress stepped forward and extended her hand. "Will you accept our thanks?" she asked. "And will you accept our offer? Will you come to Valoria and help us build a future of peace?" Do-hyun looked at her. He looked at Yuna, watching him with tears in her eyes. He looked at the guards, still kneeling. He thought about Somi, about what she would want. He thought about all the years of pain and loss and loneliness, and he thought about the future. A future he had never imagined, a future that was now possible because a scared girl and a broken man had found each other in a dark alley. He straightened his back. He steadied his legs. And for the first time in 15 years, he stood tall, really tall, on his own 2 feet. "I did not do it for a reward," he said. His voice was rough but clear. "But if I can help make sure no more children, human or Valorian, get hurt the way we were hurt, then I will accept." The Empress smiled. Yuna cried and laughed at the same time. And Do-hyun turned to look at the rising sun, golden and new, burning away the darkness of the night. He had been lost for so long, forgotten, invisible. But now he was seen. Now he was remembered. And now, finally, he was home.